Hey, thanks for tuning in to another installment of In the Shop with Afflictor Broadheads. I'm Chris, and today we're going to talk about our O-ring. It's a very important part of our broadhead. It's very simple, but there's some things about it that you need to know, and I also have some tips for you while you're using it that will save you from having to replace them. First of all of our hybrids utilize this O-ring system. And as you look, the O-ring rides right here on the collar. In fact, there's a special groove on the collar just for that O-ring. So if you ever see this O-ring out of place on the ferrule, or maybe it got slid down, and if you have the tungsten collar system, it could be lying between the tungsten collar and the ferrule, and you might not even realize that it's there. But if you do see it, just make sure that you are pulling that up towards the tip of the broadhead, and it'll slide right into the groove like that. The purpose of this O-ring is a blade retention system. Now, this is very important. In the design of this broadhead, we did not want anything over the blades. Nothing to be cut, nothing that had to break away, because that all takes away some energy and impedes penetration. So our O-ring rides at the base of the ferrule, and the blades just simply roll out from underneath it very gently. Takes no effort whatsoever to pop that open. The drive key comes back, the blades are locked, and the O-ring stays intact. So when you are hunting in a hunting situation and the blades have deployed, if that O-ring is outside of this groove, you'll often find it'll be up your shaft somewhere. Sometimes it makes it all the way to the fletching, but generally that O-ring is going to be somewhere on your shaft. You're not even going to lose it. You can just rinse it off, slide it right back down, and use that whole system again. You might need to sharpen the blades or even replace them if you went through and hit some rocks, got some damage on the other side. But generally, the O-ring is going to be able to be reused over and over again. Now, in your package, when you get hybrids, in the very back of the pack, so you don't want to miss this or throw it away, if you just remove the broadhead tray, there's a little teeny baggie back here. And inside this baggie, you will see our lock-in pins and more O-rings and a spare drive key in case you happen to need to replace that. But the O-rings are in here in case you break one. When do people most often break an O-ring? Is during practice. So the best tip I can give you about our O-rings is when you are practicing and you have inserted the lock pin into the ferrule, which keeps the blades locked for practice, you want to just take the O-ring off, okay? So just unscrew the broadhead, remove that O-ring totally off of there, and don't even have it on there, because the friction inside your target, even though your blades aren't opening because of the lock pin, the friction time after time will wear down that O-ring and cause it to break. And since you don't need it on there because the lock pin is keeping the blades closed, just take it off of there. That way you probably will never have to get into this package of spares at all, unless you would happen to have an O-ring that went completely off, or maybe got caught on some sharp bone as it was passing through and got cut in those means. But most of the time, this is a reusable product over and over and over again. Another thing about our O-ring is it is specially designed to not dry rot for a very long time. However, there is a time where rubber products, rubber-based petroleum products, plastics, if they are exposed to ozone for an extended period of time, it will start to degrade them. So if you are using an ozone generator, maybe on some of your clothes or to treat some of your hunting products, and your broadheads happen to be in there, you may start seeing some deterioration on the O-rings, as well as anything else rubber or plastic on your clothes. Same goes for boots, buttons, things like that. So you want to be careful when you're using ozone on any of your rubberized or plastic products. So again, for our O-ring, you want to make sure that it's always in the groove where it belongs. And you'll see that the blades here just kind of slide down in, and then they will catch that O-ring right there just for their security. And that is the proper positioning and use for our Afflictor O-rings.